Visionaries, welcome back, and if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. Today I wanted to come to you guys and talk to you about the lessons that I've learned over the 1,500 or so shirts that I've sold since I've been on Merch by Amazon. For those who are new to the planet, I've been on Merch by Amazon for about a year and probably a year and a half now, if you think about it. But over my journey, as I was tearing up, trying to think about the best practices that I have for each tier, starting out, the first thing I learned is you kind of really need to go in and focus on a specific niche initially, instead of kind of spreading yourself too thin across multiple niches, because when you only have 10 slots, 25 slots to start out, you can't cast too wide of a net. So I think just niche research up front, keyword research, understanding what the audience is before you start designing the shirts is best. There were a couple of shirts that I still have and perform well that are shirts that I designed initially and then kind of looked into the niche, so it happened backwards for me, but those were the lucky 2 out of 10. So to save yourself time, you definitely want to do some research on top performing niches or niches that aren't oversaturated, so that you can design a couple of shirts, get some traction around those shirts, easily climb out of the initial tiers, and then start building out your portfolio from there with other shirts that are within that niche. And then you can find closely related sub niches as well. Like if the overall niche is music and you focus in on one area of that, then you can expand to others based on what kind of designs or phrases are getting you the traction that you need initially, and then you can scale from there, either through with other genres or focusing on specific attributes for individuals that are within that genre or find that of interest. So definitely kind of hone in on what your focus is going to be instead of being a generalist to start, because you'll spend a lot of time trying to test out what will work and maybe get discouraged if you don't see sales coming in. So that was the first thing. The second thing is, as you start to make sales, kind of what your focus will be as you grow your portfolio and your pricing strategy. So in some of my videos that I mentioned in recent videos is that I initially started out with pricing my shirts lower so I can get the sales, and then bumping up the pricing at some other point in time. And I find that that wasn't necessarily the best approach starting out, because you definitely want to make sure that whatever you're focused on, that you have a strategy that's going to allow you long-term growth. A lot of folks are trying to tier up quickly so that they can have more slots, but then as you do that, if you're not making much per sale, that will get you discouraged as well, because you'll have a bunch of slots putting up designs, you'll start getting sales, but the sales are not translating into any monetary gain for you. And so for me, that was a demotivator. You guys might have a different mindset when it comes to that, so just do what makes the most sense for you. But I definitely knew that monetary push, especially if I was utilizing tools and things earlier on that cost money, there is a time investment, we know, and then there is a cost investment too if you're going to use some of the tools that are going to help you to do that research and be thorough in terms of in high quality in your designs and things of that nature. So my focus was shortly after I started to offset some of that money that I was investing by actually making money. So my advice to you is not to start your products out at $13.07 or the lowest that price that's allowed at the time. because it's generally you won't be able to sometimes recoup that, like as others see that your designs are popular. As you start selling multiples of that, you will tier up, but at that lower price point they'll see that there's an interest there, and they will try to duplicate your designs with different fonts or higher quality designs they think that they can come to the table with. So it's going to be very difficult for you, unless you start getting reviews on your shirts, to then raise the price and still stay competitive. So I say if you spent the time to research out niches and you're one of the first ones in that niche, and you don't have the opportunity to flood it out because you only have a few slots, or your slots are growing but you don't have that many to begin with to put up, and I mean by flooding it out, putting up 30, 40, 50 designs that would appeal to a potential buyer. So if you don't have the slots to dedicate your portfolio to flooding out a specific shirt that has gotten popular, it's going to be a price war, and you're likely to lose because you started your shirt out at the lower end, so you're not going to be able to price it higher and remain competitive. So I would, that's something that I learned, and I encourage you obviously to play around with the pricing and do whatever pricing structure makes sense for that particular niche, and stay competitive but not price at rock bottom starting out. The third thing that I learned is that the skills that we are focusing in on to sell one-off shirts in this environment, in this e-commerce environment, is something that we can do on a larger scale and provide our experience to clients. In one of the videos that I did in the last couple of weeks, I mentioned how I earned $1,200 on one project with a client without selling a single shirt. I was offering my experience from what I've learned and help them to best position a line of print-on-demand products that they are interested in putting into the marketplace based on my experience over the year and a half that I've been on merch, POD, Etsy, Amazon overall. So think of the skills you're gaining to not just benefit you. Now, if that's your business model, that's totally cool, and you're looking to grow your brand, but you can help grow others' brands, businesses as well, based on the experience that you're gaining from the opportunity. The other thing that I learned is, obviously, this is your journey, your designs, your focus, your talent, and it's going to be individual how your journey goes. Everyone's blueprint doesn't look the same. So even though we're offering advice on here, myself and others in the merch community, you definitely have to tailor this stuff to what makes sense for you and be realistic about what your goals are and what of the advice is going to be beneficial to you. Because if I initially, when I was on here looking for the same advice that you guys were looking for in the lower tiers, if I took everything to heart that one individual was saying versus another, sometimes that can totally contradict the direction that I was going in, because a lot of individuals that have been on here for the last few years, they had a somewhat different experience in that when merch by Amazon was brand new, they didn't have as much competition as we do now in a more saturated seller market, and the designs then, it was kind of like a low barrier to entry to a lot of the popular niches because the shirts just weren't there. So it was a different animal, and some people were able to make $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $100,000 in their first couple of years on merch, and that isn't necessarily the environment now. So I would just take certain aspects of how other individuals started to grow their business, their online business, and use the nuggets that pertain to you where you are now, and not let that discourage you in general, because your journey will be different. The last thing that I have to share with you guys is, as you're progressing forward and learning what works in your client base, I would say for long-term growth, you definitely have to be a pioneer in certain niches. So again, it's kind of back to number one, knowing what's selling now and being competitive with others, but then staking out your claim in niches that don't necessarily have designs up, so you don't have comparatively something to look at in terms of competition. But you do have tools like Google Trends, Google Analytics, the tools that's connected to Amazon in general for FBA sellers and things of that nature. I have a list of some of those tools down below, but just being a student of this will help you prospect out niches that are not oversaturated, that are not tapped, like untapped potential for you to put shirts in. So just be curious, as I said on some of my other videos about this, and enjoy your journey in general, and that will help you to stay motivated and focused. It's like you're trying to solve a mystery. Basically, what is going to be the long-term potential for your portfolio, for your business, for your focus. And I just encourage you to the greatest potential, the greatest growth. The possibilities are endless for this, and e-commerce is growing by leaps and bounds. So I often refer to my experience on Marsha's case studies, because again, there is the infinite potential of you providing the same services and consultations to other individuals that's looking for the same advice as you. You're not always going to be tier 10, tier 25, tier 100, tier 1000. I'm only at tier 2000, but the valuable insights that I have via this experience is valuable to others. So I just encourage you to think long term and greater, because if you're looking for extra cash flow each month, this is a great way to do it. But if you're looking to build a long-term business and at some point be financially independent, selling one-to-one shirts at a 80-20 ratio is not going to get you there if you're trying to build wealth here. So just want to encourage you to expand your horizons here and what you're doing and all the hours that you're putting into it. It just has the potential to be so much greater to above and beyond the success that you're having or will have on the platform in general. So that's what I had to share with you guys today. I hope this video was valuable to you. And again, if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. Love new visitors to the planet and sharing with us. And I thank you guys as always. And the subscriber count is jumping up there. We'll be at 500 soon. So again, thank you for liking, sharing the content, and subscribing. And until next time, be well and peace, family.